to be summer pretty soon. We have meteorologist Rashi Vats to talk about that and a lot more, including our weekend forecast.
That's right. Summer officially starts tonight, 9:42 p.m. Don't know if you're excited about that or not, but just wanted to give you a heads up. Of course, today is the longest day of the year, so that's kind of cool. But, you know, we've been dealing with this heat for a while, so whether it's officially summer or not, hey, nothing much is going to change. It's still going to be super hot, uncomfortable, steamy, humid outside, and we'll have the daily dose of a few downpours as well. That's what we have right now in between Huntsville and the Woodlands especially. That's where we have the majority of the action, and these are just some small brief downpours near New Waverly and also near Huntsville, Magnolia. We've had a few near Montgomery and the Woodlands, but just not a ton of action out there for today. So if you are about to maybe take a trip to the beach, maybe go out to the pool in the backyard, the neighborhood pool, go grab a bite to eat, go to a movie, you won't have to worry about a ton of rain out there. Right around Hockley and Waller, there's another cell there near Highway 290, but that one is not looking that impressive either. So overall, there's not a ton of rain to worry about through the weekend. Rain chances the rest of today, around 10 to 20%. How about a 10% chance for rain on Saturday, and then a slightly higher shot for some late afternoon downpours on Sunday at 30%. However, keep in mind, this pattern will start to shift again as we go into next week. In fact, almost every single day next week, there will be a decent shot for more heavy downpours, maybe a little bit of flooding coming back, and also a few strong storms. So enjoy the quiet weather while it sticks around. All right, of course, the weekend is here. We've got a lot of big events going on. The Humble Bacon Festival. If bacon is your thing, then hey, this is the event for you. Starting late morning tomorrow, 89 degrees around 11, and lasting all the way through 5 p.m. So, of course, if you go a little earlier, it's going to be super warm. But if you go during the afternoon, it's going to be downright hot. So be careful in the heat. That's at the Humble Convention Center or Civic Center. We are going to have some pretty toasty temps as well for your pool plans this weekend. I think the hottest temps are going to be tomorrow. That's going to be around 95 degrees for that high. Feels like temp around 100 to 106. A few more showers on Sunday, and then the higher 50% chance for rain on Monday. So notice as we check out your extended forecast, the majority of the problems with the weather really start for the new work week on Monday. Rain chances at around 50 to 60%, not just for Monday, but all throughout the week. So not looking like the best outdoors type of week, but there will be a little bit of dry time mixed in, Rashi. But just keep in mind that, yeah, it's going to be back to that stormy pattern that a lot of us aren't fans of, but you know, we get through it.
Yes, definitely. All right, Rashi, thank you. Well, we are live for you at Bush Intercontinental Airport because a Houston native is making his way right now to Houston after he was on a Birthright trip in Israel, and that trip was cut short because of the airstrikes between Israel and Iran. So Fox 26's Jonathan Mejia live for us right now at George Bush Intercontinental Airport, where we are waiting right now for that long-awaited reunion. Jonathan.
That's right, Rashi. Well, Zach will have to wait a couple more hours. His flight was scheduled to arrive in about 10 minutes, but he texted me about an hour ago that he's expected to arrive to Houston around 8 p.m. We know that he's traveling from Tampa, Florida, and he will be coming here around 8 p.m. But why was he in Israel? Well, Zachary Snowles, a Houston native, was in Israel as he was on a Birthright trip. It's a trip for young adults of Jewish heritage. Zach was on the day 7 of the trip when all of a sudden the airstrikes began. Zach was one of about 1,500 Americans who went from a bomb shelter to an hours-long trip away from the area.
After, being in a bomb shelter, hearing, the bombs, the sirens, the building is shaking and everything, like there were moments where we questioned, is this our last moment here? There were times where I was like, am I gonna send my family my last text to them ever? And I think every day that we get is a blessing, and I believe that a lot of people might think that in the back of their minds, but now that I've been through all this, I firmly believe it's amazing that I woke up this morning.
Yeah, so we'll be right here waiting for him to arrive home, and we'll get his live reaction as to what he tells us is the unimaginable, unthinkable experience he lived while in Israel. Reporting live here in IH, Jonathan Mejia, Fox 26 News.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Okay, and now we are going to turn to Randy Wallace, who is working on a story. Randy, what is your story and what's the update?
Well, Rashi, what the story is about is a Mud District 136 here in Conroe. Take a look at this. This is what the residents out here have been dealing with for almost 3 years, for 2.5 years. Now, this is supposed to be basically the drainage for the entire neighborhood, which is some 1,800 homes. But the homeowners tell us they can't see much progress. All they see is a mound of dirt moving from being replaced with one mound of dirt with another. Now, folks are watching the sides of this erode, especially when it rains. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has cited the crew for improper best management practices. Christopher Gailey is one of the concerned residents we spoke to. Here's what he had to say. It's a mud district project.
Correct.
When it's done, what is it supposed to do for you all?
It's supposed to be our main drainage for the neighborhood. The creek's supposed to hold up. It drains from the front to the back. You know, it's our main point of drainage. So
that's what it's supposed to be. What is it now?
A mess. Well, it's been a mess, going on 3 years now. So you can imagine walking out every day and seeing this.
Also, there's environmental concerns.
Correct. The complaint was filed with the Texas Environmental Group. I know they cited them for 4 different things, but no, all the sites are still active on that.
Nothing's been corrected.
No, sir.
Now, we reached out to TNG Utility for a response. They referred us to Mud District 136 attorney with Coates Rose Law Firm. And now at this point, we've yet to hear anything back. Reporting live from Conroe, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
Thank you for that. Well, Texas Senator John Cornyn is pushing to have the Space Shuttle Discovery taken out of its current home in Virginia and put right here in H-Town. The senator, along with Congressman Randy Weber, they were at Space Center Houston earlier today. And let's listen in to some of what Cornyn had to say.
Well, thank you, William, and it's great to be here at Space Center Houston with my friend Randy Weber, who represents the district adjacent to this wonderful location. It's great to have a true rocket scientist and former astronaut with us, as well as leaders from BAHEP. And we all know that Houston and the Johnson Space Center is the home of human space flight. And there's no argument about that. From to training our best and brightest, Mission Center at Johnson Space Center has served as the nerve center for Houston space flight for the entire length of our space program. But we know that politics can sometimes do unjust things that we are here to undo. And that is when 4 of the space shuttles that were retired went one to the West Coast and 3 to the East Coast, but left out the Johnson Space Center. That was back in 2010, and that's what this legislation is designed to fix. To add insult to injury, New York was chosen as one of those locations that had absolutely nothing to do with the space program. But that's why Randy Weber and I are working hard with the Bring the Shuttle Back Home Act to right this wrong. And we're optimistic that the bill that's now being, it started out as a big, beautiful bill in the House, and we're making it even more beautiful in the Senate this week. And we may well be on the floor of the Senate as early as Wednesday. But this could not have been possible without the infrastructure, the brilliance, and the sheer genius of all the people that work here at the Johnson Space Center. So we're delighted to be here with you today and talk a little bit about how do we get this, the real thing, down here from Virginia here to where it rightfully belongs. Thanks.
All right, Congressman Randy Weber was also there. Here's what I had to say.
It has a special
for me because, as you know, President Obama sent that one senator to New York. We thought we should have gotten here. So we got a mock sent in to us. We were all down here for the big event. We watched it coming in on a barge. And my best friend, my seatmate in the Texas House of Representatives in 2012, it was June the 1st, 2012, was on his way down here and he died of a heart attack. So this place holds a really special meaning for me. He was coming down to give a thanks and to make sure that we were part of the space program. And listen, we have the best district in the country, and I know that y'all are half a mile north of my district, so y'all can't vote for me, at least legally. But I will say this is so extremely important. Some of y'all remember, this is how important NASA and Johnson Space Center is. Some of y'all remember when Apollo 13 had a problem, what was the first word that they heard about it? Houston. Some of y'all are old enough to remember. I know you young whippersnappers don't remember. And what was the great line about failure? Failure is not an option. What y'all do is critical. What's happening here is critical. We know this. We want lower Earth orbit, we want lower space, we want to be preeminent in space. Excuse me. So in any military conflict, whichever army holds the upper hand and the highest altitude, highest ground, folks, there's no higher ground than space. We've got to get our shuttle here. We've got to, we've got to keep NASA here. Y'all good with that? Keep Johnson Space Center here? You betcha, you betcha. Nothing against our friends in Florida, but we've got this against our friends in Florida. And that is that they want our they want the NASA headquarters there, and we're saying not on our watch. The senators been very, very instrumental in this, so I can't say thanks enough. Thanks for what y'all do, and Senator, thanks for your help.
All right. Well, a bill to ban THC products in Texas still awaiting the signature of Governor Greg Abbott. It could still become law even without his name attached to it. Isaiah Carey talked about some of the possible impacts.
When you heard that this bill was on the table, a proposal to ban shops like yours or what you sell, your thoughts about that?
First of all, thank you for having us today. We really appreciate the opportunity to get heard on TV. Honestly, man, this is going to affect a lot of people. A lot of people will lose their jobs. It's going to affect education as well, because a lot of research on cannabis is going to be criminalized, so they can't even do research on cannabis anymore. So it's just overall bad situation, man, and I hope, Governor Abbott will do the right thing and vetoes the bill.
We've heard many business owners around the state saying, look, there will be a lot of empty real estate in various shops and facilities around the country. Many of them have put their entire life savings to open this store. What about you? How much is on the line for you? Not the exact amount, but how much are you possibly going to lose? Honestly,
man, it's a lot of money. A lot of people have bought real estate. A lot of people rented real estate. It's just gonna affect everyone tremendously. Millions of dollars will be lost. Also landlords, a lot of vacant spaces. It's really bad for the economy. It's more than what they think it is. It's really bad.
And so when you hear that, many conservatives who testified in the legislature saying young children are now getting this THC, that you're harming families. We heard from some families as well to say this is a problem and it needs to stop. What would you say to those families and those lawmakers who said this is bad for Texas?
Honestly, we respect everyone and everyone's opinion. The thing is, with our shops and many other shops, we have state-of-the-art ID scanning machines. Everyone in our shop, with no exceptions, even if you 60, 70 years old, you have to show your ID. We have officers and security. You have to check your ID before you come into our facility, period. So I feel like there's a lot of lies about that. There's a agenda that people are pushing, and I wish we could just show the true colors of the industry. It's a good industry, and I just feel like, we just want the best for everyone, and we just want everyone to be good, you know.
And Court, I'm sure you have been following the legislature on this, and this was passed in the last minutes of this legislative session in 2025, and we won't have another one until 2027. But what do you think, why the governor has not signed on this? Do you think he's fully behind this? We know this was on the agenda for Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He wanted this. But do you think the governor will not sign this, veto this, or what? Or what is he doing now that he hasn't put his signature on it?
You know, if I could guess what politicians were thinking and what they were going to do, I wouldn't have to practice law. But I think Governor Abbott has a difficult choice in front of him. He has to choose whether he wants to align himself with the lobbyists or align himself with Texans. An overwhelming majority of Texans are not in support of this bill. It is the architect of a few people that have come through and helped, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, who, as I understand it, received a whole bunch of donations from the alcohol industry that have hurt since the Farm Bill was passed. So, do I know what Governor Abbott's going to do? No, I don't. I don't envy the position he's in. But as the governor, he's supposed to do what's best for Texans, so I hope he does what Texans want.
When you take a look at the divide among legislators, you had a significant number of conservatives supporting THC and allowing it to continue. Is there any legal recourse for these business owners if this bill is signed into law by the governor, any legal recourse for those who are losing millions of dollars?
There is, and I hesitate to get too far into it because, frankly, I think I'll probably be a part of that if that happens. I have a number of clients all across the state who are interested in trying to stop this law from going into effect. And the reality is, because everyone has some sort of due process right, where the legislature can't allow a business to grow and flourish and make it legal, and then 5 years later, after people like AJ have dumped everything into it, pull out the rug. And that's what SB3 would do if it went into law.
All right, well, if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend in Houston, we have you covered. That's coming up next. Chong, Darth Vader, and all the stars will be shining over at Comicpalooza this weekend. Coco Dominguez has more from the George R. Brown Convention Center. I believe Ruben Dominguez does.
Comicpalooza is back 2025. They have been doing this since 2008. I'm Coco Dominguez here at the George R. Brown Convention Center. We're on the first floor right now, and I've gathered a few of my brand new friends here that have taken time out to dress up. Tell me about your cosplay and how much you're enjoying being out here.
I'm cosplaying Patty from Soul Eater, and this is my partner. And I enjoy being here. It's so fun. I've been going here for like 4 years.
Yeah?
It's so fun to be here.
You look great. What about you? You having a good time?
Yes, I am. I'm cosplaying Death from Soul Eater, and I like it here because like it's a lot of different people. It's like have the same interests, so it's not like awkward, you know?
No, you guys, it's definitely not awkward. Y'all look amazing. Who are you?
I'm Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm Galia from Genshin Impact.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. Tell me about yours.
I'm Erica from Princess and the Pauper.
Yeah, you are.
I'm Itachi from Naruto.
Oh, look, he gave y'all the official. All right, and what's yours?
I am Kiwi Willy from Papa Playtime.
Oh my gosh, I love it, and kind of scary at the same time.
Hi, I am just the offspring of the Queen of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland.
How great. Is this your son?
These are both my sons.
Oh, how great is it to be able to just bring the family out? You guys are having so much fun as a family.
It's great family-friendly entertainment. It's open all weekend. Come on out.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. She's like the spokesperson officially. Hundreds and hundreds of vendors, 3 levels. They've got a haunted house upstairs. They've got some Japanese gaming going on. They've got Cheech and Chong is here, guys, this weekend, okay? And so many more of your favorite actors, anime stars, and podcasts, all kind of stuff. Tickets start as low as $60. You can go to comicpalooza.com. We've got a link on our website. I'm Coco Dominguez. We're having a good time. It's Fox 26 News at the George R. Brown Convention Center.
All right, and Ruben Dominguez was there earlier today, so we got the whole thing covered. Well, you know, 2 of the most anticipated concert tours of the year will be in H-Town back-to-back weekends. Sally McDonald's taking a look at the ticket prices for weekend number 1.
I know, right? Guard your wallets, all right? We're talking about, of course, Morgan Wallen and Beyonce. They are the biggest crossover country artists right now on the planet. So we'll start with Morgan Wallen. He is kicking off his I'm the Problem tour tonight and tomorrow right here in Houston at NRG Stadium. He posted this teaser on Instagram overnight, starting with a clip from his 2019 breakout tour. We'll fast forward to 2025, and he is widely considered country music's biggest star right now. So tickets are pretty much sold out, guys. I'm taking a look at Ticketmaster here for you just to see how much it would cost you to, get in the door. Right now, the cheapest tickets you're going to find are way up here with an obstructed view. You can get them for less than $100, but again, your view will be obstructed. There are some resale tickets in this upper bowl that I have seen for less than $100. Going down to the lower bowl, you're going to be spending several $100s. And if you want to sit on the floor, up close and personal to Morgan Wallen, you can be on the floor for about $500 all the way up to $1,000. Now let's look at the Beyonce tickets for next weekend. She's playing NRG Saturday and Sunday. They're a little bit more expensive. Not selling any obstructed view for that concert from what I can tell. But the cheapest tickets up here in the upper bowl are just under $300. Woo! And if you want to be down in what they're calling the honey pit, the sweet honey pit, you're going to be paying almost $2,000, if not more than that. I mean, these prices are just outrageous, right? These are all, reseller tickets right now. By the way, guys, guess what? She had a special guest last night in Paris. This is her first official guest performer on the Cowboy Carter tour. She brought out Miley Cyrus. They performed their duet, Two Most Wanted, and Miley posted this overnight saying, "Thank you, B. I'll be your shotgun rider for life. Big gratitude to the Cowboy Carter tour crew. You were all incredible for making this happen forever and always." So, will she have an official guest performer next weekend? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see if she does that here in H-Town. All right, we'll be right back. we do have our Jonathan Mejia waiting at the airport for a stranded Houstonian, a person from Houston actually, that is on their way back. The fighting between Israel and Iran left the 19-year-old stranded there. The Sam Houston State University sophomore is thankful to be back in the U.S. after he was safely evacuated. And we're talking about Zachary Schnoll. He was one of the 1,500 Americans on this Birthright Israel trip, rescued by a cruise ship. Caroline Collins spoke with him before he boarded his final flight back to Houston.
Well, Zachary is a Houstonian in college and one of the people who was actually stuck in Israel and had to be extracted out. Now, Zachary, this is a pretty scary situation that you found yourself in. Can you take me back to the trip that you thought you were going on and what unfolded?
Yeah, so I mean, luckily our trip didn't get cut short that much. We were still able to see most of the country. Just the last few days were just, in and out of the bomb shelter, just, out of safety precautions. It kind of turned into a big question mark. It got to the point where we were kind of questioning, are we ever going to get out? Are we ever going to be safe? Luckily we are. But I'm super grateful that the trip did go as planned for the majority. I know there were a lot of groups who got there and their second day they had to start, taking shelter. So I do feel for them, but I'm super, super grateful that I did get as lucky as I did.
So did you get to spend much time sightseeing before all of the rockets started heading in your direction?
Yeah, so we got to see, I believe, 5 different cities before the rockets did come in our direction. The last city we were in was Jerusalem, that we just had to, shelter in for all those days. And then we eventually got moved a little bit to the east side of the country, to the Dead Sea, just as a safety precaution. So Jerusalem was the only city that we did not actually get to see.
Wow. I mean, 19 years old, a sophomore at Sam Houston University. You have this big trip planned. Did you ever expect to find yourself in the middle of basically a war that's breaking out?
I honestly, I'm still like you telling me that still makes me shocked. I mean, going into it, I did know, it is a little bit unsafe. It is an active war zone, but no one really knew what would unfold, and to be able to witness history at firsthand is absolutely insane to me. I mean, I think most people don't realize what actually the truth is until you witness it firsthand, and I think that is such an incredible opportunity to be able to witness and be able to continue telling to many, many people later down the line.
There was already unrest going on over there between Israel and Hamas, and I know that now this is all newer between Israel and Iran. Did you have any hesitations or second thoughts about going over there, or did Birthright Israel assure you guys that it was going to be safe? What was that thought process like for you?
Initially, at first, it was pretty scary. In our itinerary, there were a few, places that came in close contact with some areas that, still continue to have that civil unrest. I did talk to many people who went on the trip before, who were in similar situations, whether it's safe, what's the security like, and I think that is the reason I ended up going. I mean, we had armed guards with us the whole trip, IDF soldiers with us for about half of it, so you really do feel safe on it. I did actually have a friend who went during the October 7th attack, and they got them out within 2 hours. So that is the main reason that pushed me to go. But I mean, the level of safety is just unmatched. I don't think you can ever experience such safety anywhere else or with any other organization, really.
You found yourself on a large ship being extracted out of Israel. This made national news. You were one of the, I believe, 1,500 Americans on that ship. What was that experience like? And I believe before that, you were in a bomb shelter?
Yes, so actually on the way to the port, as we were about to head onto the dock, they sounded the alarms, which still in my head is like playing. And they said, everyone get onto the ground, cover your heads, cross your legs. And like, honestly, that moment was really pivotal for me for the entire trip because we were used to, being indoors, concrete shelters, benches, somewhat nice. And then going to this surreal moment really did scare me. And I think a lot of others as well. But the cruise itself, I think I hands down think that it was an experience that all of us needed. We all kind of thought it would be like almost an aircraft carrier taking us. We didn't really know. But I mean, it was a really big relief, a big weight off of our shoulders to be able to just let loose. I mean, there were parties, there were amazing staff members caring for us hand and foot. I mean, it was definitely something that we needed for sure.
So after being in the bomb shelters, which you sent me pictures of, then you go on this ship, which is actually, it's a cruise ship, right?
Yes, yeah, it was a full-on cruise ship.
Oh my goodness. So knowing what you went through and that moment when you were driving to the ship and the sirens went off and you're thinking, what is happening? Would you go back and do this trip again?
I 1000% would, and I feel like at first people would be like, are you insane? We actually had this discussion at the airport. One of the staff members said who would do it again. I honestly think, in my opinion, I don't see this situation ever getting better. It could get better at some points, but in the long term, I think it's gonna persist. And knowing that I have that level of safety and it being very reassuring, I would definitely go again. I mean, it's my homeland. It's who I resonate with the most. So hopefully one day I'll return, but maybe not for a couple months. We'll see.
And you could actually see the missiles kind of coming over and then basically Israel intercepting them. Did you get any video of that, or were you able to see that with your own eyes?
Yeah, so actually the first night that it was happening, I was sound asleep and my friend woke me up saying, let's go, we gotta go to the shelter. And I remember like I was running down there and through the hallways we had windows and you could see like the light of, the base of the missile being intercepted. But we got so many videos. There were some staff members that actually stood outside while it was happening. They were more brave than I was, I'll tell you that. But after you come out of the bomb shelter, you can actually see all the smoke, rising into the sky, which was like very like heart-wrenching, just knowing what's going on around you.
I bet. It's been alarming and very sad and stressful to be watching from our national coverage what's happening over there, and I can't believe that you were over there when all of this was unfolding. And then you thought to message me on Insta. I don't even know how you thought to contact me. And I'm very thankful that you did, because this is so surreal and it is impacting Americans and people just like you who are over there. What would you say your biggest takeaway was now that you finally have landed in Tampa, Florida, where you're waiting to catch a flight back to Houston?
Honestly, I think the biggest takeaway is that we take many things for granted, and I know that's such a common phrase, but this is the first time I'm using it. I believe after, being in a bomb shelter, hearing, the bombs, the sirens, the building is shaking and everything, like there were moments where we questioned, are we like, is this our last moment here? Like, there were times where I was like, am I gonna send my family my last text to them ever? And I think like every day that we get is a blessing, and I believe that a lot of people might think that in the back of their minds, but now that I've been through all this, I like firmly believe like it's amazing that I woke up this morning. I'm so grateful for that.
Very interesting conversation there. We'll be right back. This is so incredibly neat. So for the first time ever, a surgeon has performed a fully robotic heart transplant and happened right here in Houston. Working at our amazing medical center, Dr. Kenneth Liao is chief of cardiothoracic transplantation at Baylor College of Medicine in St. Luke's. Earlier, our DeLon Dillard and Heather Sullivan spoke with Dr. Liao and his patient, Tony Ibarra.
Tony, you had a heart failure after suffering a stroke, and you had this surgery back in March. How are you feeling today? You look great.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm feeling okay. Feeling good, actually. So.
And what was your reaction when this option was presented to you?
Well, honestly, I was amazed. So, like I told the doctor and everybody else, do what you gotta do to save me. Do whatever procedure. So that was done, and I'm grateful for it.
So when you learned about this and then learned that you would be the first person in the U.S. to ever get a robotic heart transplant, what was your thoughts? And I imagine, if you had any concerns as well.
Well, honestly, I didn't know I was the first person in the United States to have this procedure done. So I mean, I was surprised after it happened.
Yeah. Just talk a little bit about the difference that this has made in your life.
Oh, honestly, I didn't know that you had to have like blood transfusions and stuff afterward the heart transplant. I didn't have to do all that, and the healing was better. So, I mean, I healed pretty quick. So thank God for that. But I mean, it's been a journey.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to see you doing so well.
Yeah, Dr. Liao, let's bring you in here for a second. Obviously, you performed this. And so traditionally, you have to actually break open the chest to replace the heart. What did this look like for you?
So this is amazing, and it's totally different from the traditional approach, which we have to split the patient's sternum breastbone, not typical without any more blood loss, and longer recovery time, and more difficulty in rehab, and also possible increased risk of infection. So without opening the chest, and we use the robot, the new technology that we're able to do it, perform the heart transplant minimally invasively, and we actually use a special approach using the space between the abdominal cavity, the pre-peritoneal space, and then the breastbone. That space we made a 5-inch incision and then removed the old Seki heart and insert a new heart and sewed everything with the robot, cut it out, removed the old heart and implant the new heart using the robot. So that's amazing technology, and with this new technology, and I think it can benefit more patients. Tony is a typical sample, and that how he benefit from this after 4 months ICU stay, bed bound with all the assist device to support his heart. Finally, he came out strong, and with very short recovery time and quick return to his normal life. That's all we want to see. And as a surgeon, as any doctors, will take care of him.
Yeah, and it sounds like he looks like he's doing so well. And are there some other benefits as well? Less pain, other things for the patient to make that recovery a little easier?
Absolutely, that the pain is actually very minimal for for Tony, and he never complained. That's the beauty of that. And all he can do is focus on his rehab and build his strength. After 4 months stuck in the bed, and without worry about infection, without worry about the potential complications related with conventional surgery, and also the blood loss is minimal with this approach, since we're not opening up the bone and minimize the blood loss from splitting the bone. So this is totally a transformative approach, and I think that in the future, more patients can benefit from this.
And to piggyback off of that question too, do you see this becoming far more common and more robotic surgeries, especially heart transplants, becoming more common here in the future?
Yes, certainly this, robotic heart transplant is very unique. And of course, we are doing a lot of robotic regular heart surgeries. In our medical center, we typically do 2-3 robotic heart surgeries at Baylor. And then that actually prepared us to have enough experience combined with this technology to take on this relatively challenging a new area of robotic heart transplant. And then it comes with this experience, center's experience. We are fortunate to be in this center. We do a lot of heart transplantation, and we do a lot of robotic surgery. These two converge together is very natural to us. I think many other centers, hopefully in the U.S. and in the rest of the world, can learn and you offer this technology to help a lot of patients.
Very fascinating there. Well, nurse Kristen Waller has come full circle. Kristen Waller, that is, once a baby fighting cancer at Texas Children's Hospital. Her journey inspired her to now become a nurse. And now she works alongside the oncologist who actually helped her save her own life, bringing hope to others in the place that gave her a second chance. Melissa Wilson shares this special story.
Kristen, this is so meaningful to you after beating cancer twice?
Yeah.
Starting from when you were a baby right here at Texas Children's.
Yeah.
What were you diagnosed with as a child?
I had a teratoma. It's a type of a germ cell tumor.
And then you had to have it removed and then chemotherapy after that?
Yes, yeah. A couple surgeries and then some chemotherapy.
Okay, and then your whole life thought that you would want to come back here one day and help patients like you were helped here?
Yeah, ever since I can remember, my dream has been to work at Texas Children's in the Cancer Center, give back to who gave to me.
That is incredible, but unfortunately you had a setback, so you were diagnosed with a different type of cancer recently. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so at the end of 2022 I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I beat that as well. And the team here at Texas Children's, they're like family. They helped me all the way through it.
I think it's remarkable that you actually work with the doctor who helped save your life as a baby. What is that like?
Yeah, it's great to get to see him, and he's gotten to see how I've grown as a nurse and a professional, and it's something very special.
Oh, hi, Kristen.
What's it like to work with Kristen?
Oh, it's absolutely great. You don't know how gratifying and rewarding it is to see someone whom you treated, and then she comes and joins your team. And then she works with you to get these children and families across the bridge. It's an amazing feeling.
How did you find out she was working here under the same roof with you?
Well, somebody from downstairs, my office is upstairs, they came up and told me, you know, Kristen Kelly is here and she's part of a team now. And you can imagine my surprise and just pleasure, and ran down to meet her.
How amazing is it to know that you saved her life when she was a little baby and now she's able to give back because of that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, it's very gratifying, very rewarding and heartwarming. So now she's part of this team where she can help these families and the little children day in and day out. It's a complete full circle, which I think not many people can experience as a physician. Everybody loves Kristen, and I think part of it is she immediately connects with the families. She knows what she's been through, and she's able to convey that to the families and empathize and make them cross over, to the other side.
Who do you have today?
Talk about full circle. It's incredible. How meaningful is this job to you?
It means everything. My job is my biggest passion, and the kids are what bring me back here every day. Good job.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Spectrum of Parenting, where we talk about issues in the special needs community. My name's Faith, and I'm a producer here at Fox 26, and I'm also a special needs mom. And today we are talking about an issue that is very close to my heart. It's summer, so lots of families are heading to the pool or to the beach, but when you're the parent of an autistic child, heading to the pool or the beach can bring about some anxiety, and that's because drowning is the leading cause of death for both children and adults with autism. That's why when my son Noah got diagnosed with autism at age 3, my family and I enrolled him in swimming classes almost immediately to give us that peace of mind. And it's also given me hope that other special needs children can learn to swim too with the right teachers. So to tell us more about that, we have Kathleen McMorty joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Kathleen McMorty. I'm the owner of Texas Swim Academy in Katy. I'm a registered nurse and kind of come to swimming through kind of more of a public health perspective, drowning prevention, but also having fun. And we are unique in that we do have a program for children on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for 22 years, you were telling me.
We are beginning our 22nd season.
That's amazing. Have you worked with autistic children for that long as well, or is that a more recent thing?
We have off and on more purposefully since around 2013. I took my first coursework in swimming with autism out in San Diego. There's a really phenomenal program out there.
Interesting.
And just really loved the methodology, which was very similar to what we were already teaching, which is infant swimming and survival swimming.
Yeah, you're saying 6 months old. Some kids are start that young.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those videos of the babies, and they just float to the top. It's so interesting. And, you know, you might underestimate a baby and an autistic child with being able to learn to swim, but with the right teacher, they can. So how vital do you think it is for children with autism to learn to swim?
Very critically vital for the, flight and just, their risks are greater. Yeah. Often the communication is a barrier. Knowing the safety parameters may be a barrier. So just knowing what to do in the water. They often are drawn to the water as well, just because, if you think about it, that vision is a little softer, the noise is a little softer, there's that hydrostatic pressure on the skin. It's just a very sensory calming experience for a lot of children.
Yeah, absolutely. We've covered, sadly, stories like that on the news where autistic children, they tend to elope, get out of the house when the parents are distracted and they wander toward bodies of water. It's just happened so often. So I'm really hopeful that a segment like this can help parents understand, more about, look, all these kids learning to swim. It's beautiful. So at the Academy, you have a special swimming program for children with autism. So tell me how this differs from a traditional swimming class.
In our arena, it's somewhat similar in that we do all of our beginners in a private lesson. And I think that's really the key. Is you don't want to just stick the child in a group and they get what they get. We need to tailor the learning toward the child. Do we need to use a social story? Do we need to use picture cards? What do we need to do different? And just having that one-to-one experience, they feel a little bit safer. Our facility is even designed for the young child and a child that's a little bit more nervous, in that we have 5 smaller pools.
Oh, wow.
That kind of mimic more the backyard setting, that much more intimate.
Sure.
And it's just not quite as vast as our large pool. And I think that really helps in a calming way.
Yeah, definitely. Kids on the spectrum can often get overstimulated. So I think having that private time, as opposed to being in a class full of screaming, splashing kids, that could definitely help them calm and be focused and, really absorb what you're saying. That was something else you were telling me, is that you have to give them a little bit to process it.
Right. Well, and that's, when you're teaching one-to-one, you get to know the unique child. What are their likes and dislikes? What are things that help them be calmer? How can you communicate with them better? Do they have, a process delay that you need to just short commands and give them a second, just allow them to be successful in the water.
Yeah, that was something my son's swim instructors did when he was 3. He went to the Houston Swim Academy up in Cyprus. And yeah, he had, several different teachers, but whenever they would get one-on-one with him and look him right in the eye, that's when he would really start to get it. I did this really sweet video of the very first moment he learned to swim, and he held his breath, and she had him just holding onto her finger, and then he just let go and just floated away. I was so proud of him. Yeah, look, that's the moment right there.
That's so sweet.
I wanted to cry because, just seeing him learn to swim was, this was right after he got diagnosed. So I was in a mental spiral a bit. I was just thinking, what does the future look like for my child? What is he going to be able to do? Can he succeed? Can he do these things? And then he did that. I'm going to start to cry. But yeah, that's the moment where he took a big breath and floated. Yay. I'm so sorry. I did not think I was going to start to cry.
Well, one of the beautiful things about swimming as a sport and knowing how to do it, especially for the child on the spectrum, where they may not be comfortable socializing.
Right.
But swimming, you can be in the environment, you can be around friends, and you can be as interactive as you want. You can kind of just go under the water and swim a little bit, pop back up, get some air. But it allows them to kind of control that environment and be active and still be participating in a social environment, in a sports environment, if you will.
Yeah, No,
So-
I wonder about, sports for him, if he's going to be able to do certain sports. I think, swimming is definitely an option. Once he really gets the hang of it and he's under the water, he can like take off like a rocket. It just depends on if there's something on the other side that he wants to get.
Right.
So it's all about, motivation. So are there other benefits autistic children can gain from learning to swim?
Well, everybody should know how to swim.
Yeah.
It's just, I think we do see a lot of language coming, especially in our younger kiddos.
Yeah.
These 2s and 3s that after they start swimming, we might hear more babbling and more language starts to develop, and we start seeing that coming along, which is also really sweet. And
that's great.
There are many aspects with just knowing how to swim. Plus, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great exercise. And my son actually did become more communicative while he was learning to swim. He was saying things like bubbles, water. And one of his favorite words now is swimming. He wants me to take him to the gym all the time to go swimming. So I think it's such a great thing that you're doing. Where can people find out more information about Texas Swim Academy?
You can come to our website, which is texasswimacademy.com. Something else I wanted to say additionally, as an autism parent, that often therapies and things are expensive.
Very.
There's a lot of additional cost therapeutically. And so we do work with some organizations on scholarshiping for swim lessons.
Oh, that's great.
So if anyone would want more information on that, they can just reach out to us, info@texasswimacademy.com, and we'd love to share those things with them as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that can be one of the biggest barriers to learning to swim is the cost. So I think that's a great opportunity for parents to know about too. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. Remember, you can catch us Thursdays at 2:30 on Houston Live and Local. We'll see you next time.
All right. And thank you so much for watching Houston Live and Local. We have a lot more coming up on Fox 26 News at 9. We do appreciate your time and hope you'll join us next time.